The restaurant in downtown San Francisco gleamed like money itself. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, and gold-rimmed wine glasses that reflected the city lights. The people who dined here didn't just eat, they announced their status. And tonight, sitting at the corner table reserved for VIPs, was Gregory Hartwell, a self-made millionaire tech investor and, according to him, a man who could spot intelligence from a mile away. He leaned back, sipping his imported cognac, scanning the room as if it were his personal kingdom. He didn't come here for the food. He came for recognition. That's when Amara approached, a young black waitress with calm eyes, her curly hair neatly tied, her steps quiet but confident. "Good evening, sir," she said with a polite smile. "Would you like to start with something to drink?" Gregory raised an eyebrow, glancing at her name tag. "Amara, huh? African name?" "Yes, sir." "Nigerian." He smirked. "Ah, I see. Nigeria. And yet you're working here, in San Francisco. Interesting." The tone wasn't curious. It was condescending. Amara's smile didn't waver. "Yes, sir. I enjoy learning for people. Everyone has something to teach." Gregory chuckled. "Do they now? Well, tell me, Amara, how many languages do you speak?" Amara tilted her head, unsure where he was going. "A few, sir." Let's see." He leaned forward, voice dripping with arrogance. "I'll make you an offer. Speak to me in Chinese, properly, and I'll tip you $100,000. Right here, right now." The nearby tables went silent. Even the piano player missed a note. Amara blinked. "Sir, you don't have to." No, he interrupted, loud enough for others to hear. "You said everyone has something to teach. Show me what you've learned." For a second, Amara simply looked at him, calm, unbothered, unreadable. Then she said softly, "Would you like Mandarin or Cantonese, sir?" Gregory froze. "Excuse me." Amara smiled, her tone effortlessly switching. "您好先生，您要喝点什么吗？您好先生，您要喝点什么吗？" "Hello, sir. What would you like to drink?" Gasps rippled around the room. Gregory blinked, trying to recover. "You memorized that off TikTok or something?" Amara tilted her head. "No, sir. I studied linguistics. I speak 9 languages: English, Mandarin, Cantonese, Spanish, French, Italian, Yoruba, Swahili, and a little Arabic." He laughed nervously, looking for a camera. "You're kidding." She shook her head. "I came to America on a scholarship. I'm saving for my master's in computational linguistics. This job helps with tuition." For the first time that evening, Gregory's arrogance faltered. His smirk faded. He saw her not as a waitress, but as something unfamiliar, someone he couldn't categorize. He swallowed. You're serious?" Amara nodded. "Yes, sir. But the real question is, why did you assume I couldn't?" The restaurant was silent now. Even the waiter at the next table paused mid-pour. Gregory shifted uncomfortably. "I didn't mean—" "You did, sir," she interrupted gently. "But that's okay. Sometimes people don't see what's right in front of them until they're forced to look closer." Her voice was steady, but her eyes glimmered with quiet strength. Gregory cleared his throat, fumbled for his wallet, and slid a black card onto the table. "Keep it," he said, his voice low. "I owe you that much." Amara smiled softly. "No, sir. I don't need your money. Just your respect." She walked away gracefully, leaving Gregory staring at his reflection in the untouched wine glass. For the first time, he didn't like what he saw. That night, the millionaire who once prided himself on knowing people went home with a question he couldn't shake. How many great minds had he dismissed simply because they didn't look like him? And somewhere between guilt and admiration, a spark of humility began to grow, the beginning of a change that would ripple through his life in ways he never expected. Gregory couldn't sleep that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw her face, calm, composed, and entirely unbothered by his arrogance. Her words echoed in his head like a mirror held too close. Sometimes people don't see what's right in front of them until they're forced to look closer. For a man who built empires, one conversation with a waitress had torn down his own. The next morning, his assistant, Clara, noticed the change. "Sir, You canceled your investor meeting? Gregory nodded absently. I need to find someone. Someone? Yes. A waitress. Clara blinked. At the Golden Ember restaurant? He nodded. Her name's Amara. A second encounter. By noon, Gregory was standing awkwardly by the restaurant entrance. Gone was the confident swagger. He wore a simple gray sweater instead of his tailored suit. Amara noticed him instantly as she refilled the table's coffee. Her expression didn't change, but her eyes softened slightly. Good afternoon, sir, she greeted. Back for another language lesson? He smiled faintly, scratching the back of his neck. I deserve that. I wasn't teasing, she said gently. Every conversation teaches something. Gregory nodded. Then I'd like to learn more about you. Over lunch. My treat. And no $100,000 bets this time. Amara hesitated, then finally smiled. Fine. But I'm still on my shift, so you'll have to sit at the bar. Fair, he said. That's probably where I belong. Conversations beyond words. As she served other guests, they spoke between her rounds. Gregory listened, really listened, as Amara shared pieces of her story. She was born in Lagos, raised by a teacher mother and a linguist father. When her father passed, she vowed to continue his dream, bridging cultures through language. She earned scholarships, studied relentlessly, and eventually made it to Stanford, where she was completing a degree in computational linguistics. I work here to save for my graduate research, she explained, polishing a glass. I'm building an AI model that can translate indigenous languages, the ones being forgotten. Gregory's interest sharpened. You're working on language preservation? She nodded. Yes. I believe language carries memory. When a language dies, we lose a piece of humanity. Her words hit him harder than he expected. He'd spent years funding tech startups, chatbots, trading apps, social media tools, but never once had he funded something that preserved humanity itself. The offer. A week later, Gregory invited Amara to his office, not as a waitress, but as a professional. When she arrived, he stood to greet her with genuine respect. I've been thinking about your project, he began. You said you're trying to save dying languages. I want to help. Amara frowned, uncertain. Help how? He turned his laptop to face her. On the screen was a proposal titled, The Amara Initiative, a foundation for global language preservation. Her eyes widened. I want to fund your work, he said simply. No strings attached. You'll have a team, equipment, and full academic freedom. Just promise me one thing. What's that? Teach me something real, not about money or success. Teach me what language really means. The lesson. Months passed. Together, they built what would later become a global project, digitizing vanishing languages, creating educational tools, and helping communities preserve their oral traditions. Gregory didn't just invest money. He invested time. He attended language workshops, listened to elders tell stories in dialects he couldn't pronounce, and learned humility in the process. One day, during a small event, he watched Amara translate between two speakers from different tribes. They laughed, shared stories, and hugged, even though they had no common tongue, until she bridged the gap. After the event, Gregory said quietly, I used to think language was about understanding words. Amara smiled. It's not. It's about understanding people. Full circle. A year later, the Amara Initiative launched globally. It made headlines. Tech investor partners with linguists to save endangered languages. But the spotlight didn't interest Gregory anymore. He'd found something more valuable than status. Purpose. At the launch ceremony, as journalists gathered, Gregory stood behind Amara as she gave her speech. When I first came to America, she said, I thought success meant being understood. Now I know it means helping others be heard. Her words drew a standing ovation. After the event, Gregory handed her an envelope. Inside was a check for $100,000. She frowned. I told you I don't need your money. He smiled. I know. That's why it's not for you. It's for your foundation scholarship fund, for students who remind the world that brilliance has no accent, no color, and no boundaries. Amara's eyes welled up. For the first time, she didn't hide her emotion. Thank you, sir. Gregory shook his head. Just Gregory. I think I've finally learned your language. Epilogue. Years later, when the Amara Initiative received a United Nations Award for Cultural Preservation, Amara stood on stage beside Gregory. He didn't need to speak. The look they exchanged said everything: gratitude, respect, and redemption spoken in the most universal language of all: humanity.